Hello, my name is Mitch Clark, and for this assignment, I visited a mosque named the Islamic Association of Mesquite, Masjid ar-Rahman. It is located at 2409 Gus Thompson Road, Mesquite, Texas. Islam was created when God decided he wanted to choose a prophet to spread his message to the world. The prophet he chose was Muhammad. Muhammad generally spent his time in a cave called Hira when he was lonely or wanted to find peace. One day while in the cave, an angel named Gabriel came down from the heavens and found him sitting there. The angel brought a book called the Quran and told Muhammad that he needed to memorize it and read it thoroughly. But Muhammad was illiterate and did not know how to read. So the angel Gabriel read it to him until Muhammad had it fully memorized so that he could spread the message to the world. Muhammad was one of 4 messengers that God sent down to spread his word and religion to the people of Mecca and the people of Medina and Saudi Arabia. To the Sunni, Muhammad was the last prophet and messenger of God. Each of the 4 prophets were sent down by God to spread the word of the holy book that God gave to them. Jesus with the Bible, Moses with the Torah, David with the Zabur, and Muhammad with the Quran. Muhammad was tasked with spreading the word of the 5 pillars of Islam, 1 being faith, 2 being prayer, 3 being donation, 4 being fasting during Ramadan, and 5 being the Hajj, which is the pilgrimage to Mecca. This is only a brief explanation of the religion of Islam. There's still so much that can be learned about its beliefs and religious history. Once I got to the mosque, it was very crowded. I had a hard time finding a parking spot. I actually had to park at a nearby business because of this. But that's because it was the Friday prayer known as Salat al-Juma. But that's not the only time they have prayers. They have prayers every day during the 5 times you can pray in the Islamic religion. But the actual building wasn't what I thought it'd be at all. Like from what I've seen on TV or from what friends have told me, it was just a regular business building. And when you walk inside on the left, there are racks filled with shoes, and there were shoes all over the floor, because when you go to the mosque you have to take off your shoes. That's how they are. And then on the right there was a big bathroom area where they wash up, clean their bodies, and they had seating on the inside, a seating area just for the overflow. And once you get to the actual room where they listen to, I don't know, the preacher talk, I guess, it's all carpet. It's a big room, and then where the preacher talks, there's a podium, and on both sides of them there are Qurans, just in case anybody wants to take one to read along or to read while the preacher is talking about the religion. And then behind him there are frames with Arabic writing from the Quran. One more thing I forgot to add was that where everyone prays in the big room, the carpet actually has lines on it so that when people line up to pray, it keeps them in straight lines and keeps everything organized. And actually the building is split up into 2 sections, one side for the men and one side for the women, because that's how their culture was designed. After the prayer at the mosque, people immediately came up to me asking me who I was because they had not seen me before. I then explained who I was and told them that I was there for a school project with a friend. They thought that was really cool, and then I proceeded to ask them how long they had been attending the mosque. They told me they had been attending for 4 to 5 years since it opened, and told me that the mosque had always been good to them and was very welcoming to newcomers. I then said thank you for their time and walked away. Before you can pray at the mosque, you must first make sure that you cleanse your body of all dirt. To do this, you have to follow certain steps. 1 being you wash your right hand 3 times, 2 being you wash your left hand 3 times, then you wash your inner and outer mouth 3 times with your left hand. The next step is you wash your inner nose with your left hand by putting water into your nose, and then you squeeze it out with your right hand. Then you wash your face 3 times with both hands. And then you wash from your wrist to your elbow with your right hand first 3 times. Then you do your wrist to elbow on your left hand 3 times. And then you wash your face. Next, you wash your hair from your forehead to the back of your head. And then you wash your ears using your index fingers to clean the inside of your ears, and your thumbs to clean the outside of your ears. Then you can wash your neck, and then you wash your right foot 3 times first, and then your left foot 3 times first. But if you take a shower before you go to the mosque, then you don't have to do any of these steps. Taking a shower will cleanse you just as well. Also, if you use the restroom and use it to discharge your body in any way, or you fall asleep, that nullifies the cleansing process you just did, and you'll have to repeat all the steps over again. When it is time to pray at the mosque, you must get in an orderly line on the carpet where the lines are marked. When you're doing this, you must make sure that you are facing east towards the Kaaba. This is the big black box in Mecca. When it's time to pray at the mosque, you cannot simply just pray. There are many steps you must follow, and I'll be showing you these steps and how to do them, and I'll put in a clip of me doing the steps. But I don't know the words that are said during the steps. I don't know what they mean or how to pronounce them, so I'll just be showing you the process. Okay, before the prayer starts, you must first make sure that you're facing east towards the Kaaba in Mecca. Then you must make sure that your feet are on the line on the carpet. Then to start the prayer, you make sure that your hands are up by your ears, and you you say Allahu Akbar to start the prayer. Next, you put your left hand on your stomach area, then you put your right hand on top of it, and then you say what needs to be said and repeat the verses in the Quran. Then you bend over, putting your hands on your knees, making sure your back is straight, and you say what needs to be said. Then you come back up, say what needs to be said. I think you say Allahu Akbar, and then you put your hands on the ground and your knees so you're bent over like this. Make sure only your hands on the ground. Make sure your elbows are out, and then you put your nose and forehead to the ground, and you say what needs to be said. Then you come back up, and then you say what needs to be said again. Then you go back down, do it again, keeping your nose and forehead to the ground. Then you come back up, and you stand up, and then you put your left hand and right hand here, and then depending on what prayer you go to, this can be repeated or it might not be repeated, the whole process. Considering I went to the Friday prayer, we only did the process twice, and then after we did the process the second time, you come up, you sit on your knees and on your feet, and the sheikh will say some words, and then you look to the right, say some words, and then you look to the left, say some words, and then the prayer is over. After the prayer, everybody went outside, and I was immediately greeted by many people asking me if I liked it and asking me how it was. I told them it was very cool to experience a new religion and experience the ways that they do things. I then proceeded to ask them if I could interview them. They told me yes, so I asked them a couple questions. The first question I asked them was, how long have they been praying? Many of them told me they've been praying since their early teens, and told me that at first they did not pray 5 times a day, but they tried to pray as often as they could, but with school and everything it was hard. But then they told me as they got older, they started praying more often and eventually got to the point they were praying 5 times a day every day. The next question I asked them was if they always come to Friday prayer. They told me yes, they come to the earlier one because it is in English, but they do have a later one in Arabic for anybody who doesn't understand English and wants to hear it in Arabic. I think this is really cool because it gives anybody a chance to do the prayer and hear what is being said, even if there's language barriers. The next question I asked a group of people was, is this mosque any different from any of the other mosques in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? They told me no, all of them are relatively the same, like the looks and everything, except for maybe the style of the building is, the size, the sheikh that's giving the message, and what the message is. The last question I asked them was, what's it like to be a Muslim American? They were very intrigued by this question and liked it a lot. They told me to be a Muslim American is very difficult because of what's happening in the world today, but it's also something that has empowered them to get them to where they are now, and they're very proud of who they are. After visiting the mosque and finishing this project, and after reflecting on everything that I saw and learned, I thought it was very cool to get to go see the different religion and see everything they do differently compared to my religion. I really liked how I thought it was very cool to get to go to this mosque and compare all of its architecture and culture compared to the church I go to, and I got to see all the differences and similarities they had. I also thought it was very odd but very intriguing how before you're allowed to enter the mosque you must take off your shoes, and how before you can pray you have to cleanse your whole body and do all these processes. So for this last part, I have a video of me entering the mosque, and I actually had a friend record it because I didn't want to seem rude being a newcomer to the mosque. I didn't want to be recording it, but it shows me entering the mosque, and on the right it shows the cleansing area where people clean their bodies, and then on the left is the racks with all the shoes and all the shoes all over the floor. And then in the background you can actually hear the sheikh giving his message, so I'm going to let you listen to that message. And lastly, I just want to say thank you for this project, and I have learned a lot from it and plan to use everything I've learned from this in my life going forward.
You have the right to come and do what? Tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is number one. The other topic about the same topic of other point, Ikhwani. All the books before